Hello and welcome back to Wellbeing. My name is Madison,
My name is Rachel.
and today we are talking about creatine.
Woohoo!
Woohoo, indeed. We found a really great systematic review. I shouldn't say we, Rachel found a really great systematic review about it, which, if you don't know what a systematic review is, it is
Elite.
elite in research.
Elite of research studies. Like if you're ever looking
Mhm.
up a research study,
It's not a study, it's like a review of the good
yes,
studies,
correct.
which we
Of the
love.
best studies. So it's
hmm
like a summary of all the good ones.
Which makes everyone's life easier. So shout
Yeah.
out to these people
Yes.
at all for
At all for putting
for
this
putting
together
this
for
together.
us. Yeah.
And Rachel will put it below.
Yes, I will. Also, like that's a good point because sometimes
Mm,
you can look up research and the type of study that was done really does
hmm
matter.
hmm
So, like for instance, if you see a research study and it's like a case study, that's
hmm
like on such a low population that they're not
Yeah.
always
It's like
like
one
the
person this worked
most.
for.
Yeah, you shouldn't take
Unfortunately,
it like in a black and
yeah.
white fashion.
hmm Unfortunately, if you are listening and you're from my vestibular world, um, that's a lot of the research, sadly. But
In certain
that's the best you
populations, it's
have.
necessary. Yeah, like that's
Yeah,
just what
it's the
you
best you
have.
have. Like the
Yeah.
timolol for you guys will know what I'm talking about if you have the timolol eye drop studies. There's one case study and like one very small actual study, and that's what we cite in order to give you guys timolol. Well, I don't prescribe it, but people like cite that for off-brand use of timolol eye drops, but they do work. So if you did do a randomized control trial, I bet
It
it
would
would be
work.
effective.
That's
So
good to
yeah,
know.
it just depends on a lot of things, but generally for big topics, you're looking for randomized control trials and systematic reviews.
Yes. Yep. And like more popular patient studies. Like, and
Exactly.
that's true in like pediatrics too, because
hmm
obviously not very many research studies
Yeah.
can be conducted in a great way, especially on kids. Like,
hmm
it's just not, that's not
An
like our
ethical
prime.
issue.
Yeah, like it's just not. And so there's not a ton of like amazing
Mhm.
studies all the time on like certain things. So you just use what you
Yeah,
have and like apply it as
the
best you
best you can.
can. Yeah.
Totally. Totally agree. Okay, so creatine. Creatine is a supplement. It also is made by your kidneys, pancreas, and liver. And also, it comes from seafood and red meat. So it can be found in a lot of places, but it's one of those supplements that is very widely studied, like very widely, and is considered pretty safe for most populations, just generally overall. Like they even studied it on pregnant women, and the fact that they studied anything on pregnant women is crazy.
Yeah.
It's a pretty new study, so I don't know that we're going to talk about it a lot today because if you listen to our episode on vaccines, we were talking about how like one study doesn't change a lot of clinical practice for a lot of people. So, but if you do want to go find it, it is findable online. Um, that being said, creatine is a combination of three amino acids. So L-arginine, glycine, and L-methionine. So it's three amino acids, and it is used for muscle growth, energy, health, improved muscle damage repair, um, aids in cognition, improves oxidation systems in the body, and does a lot of other things. One of the coolest things that it does is it helps with energy. So it increases the bioavailability of phosphocreatine, which is what helps cells and molecules to create ATP to ADP plus PI, which if you took biology class or remember, because like why would you remember that unless you needed to? But it helps create free energy in muscles.
hmm
So a lot of people will take it for high performance, but there are more reasons to take it than just performance.
Yeah, I think that it's a super well studied substance with athletes and muscle growth and like you said, athletic performance. But we're also going to talk, I think that's like the part that's really marketed like regularly on like social media. But we're also going to talk about like different like potential therapeutic role of creatine supplementation in
Mm-hmm.
different like health related conditions too, which is kind of really interesting and kind of what our podcast is about. And,
Yeah,
like not just growing as an athlete, but also just functional well-being.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Um, I am personally, do you take creatine?
Yes.
Me too. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
And it's definitely one that I was like, I took before I knew why I should take it.
Yeah. You're like, everyone's taking this.
Everyone's
So
taking this.
you
It
have
must be
to.
good for you.
I feel like it's one of the top ones. Like, if you don't know what
Yeah.
to take, like, it's definitely, besides omega-3s, like, it's,
Vitamin C, omega 3s, and creatine.
yeah, like, those are
Yeah.
your staples. Yeah.
Another thing that's cool for is reducing oxidative stress. So for my people with migraine, this is one of the ones that I do tend to recommend. Obviously, this is not medical advice. Please talk to your doctor. But this is one that I tend to recommend for people who have migraine as well as brain fog. And there's actually research to support this. But um, people who experience migraine attacks have higher levels of oxidative stress. So, any levels of oxidative stress in your body, we're trying to reduce and kind of balance out with antioxidants. Typical antioxidants are things like vitamin A, C, E, minerals, copper, zinc, selenium, and too much of any of these things is not a good thing. Um, but it can be super useful as a pretty solid antioxidant in your body. That being said, if you are not eating fiber from plants, if you are not eating your protein from meat, if you are not eating like a generally unprocessed diet, then again, we can't expect creatine to just come in and be the savior. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah. Like, you're not like, yes, there are studies out there that shows it can help with like muscle, building muscle and like getting faster, stronger, all those things. But if you're not practicing the movements that also
Mm,
support that growth, then it's not going to do anything that you're wanting.
exactly.
Yeah. It's a piece of the puzzle.
As always.
Yeah.
So again, kind of for like, should I start taking this today? Focus on the smaller, more basic puzzle pieces rather than supplementing this, just
Yeah.
generally. The dose for most people is between 3 and 5 grams. And usually, when you buy creatine, it comes in a powder. It does not absorb very well into water. So you kind of just have to like drink. I just like put it in like a shot of water and chug it.
Yeah. I feel like you have to have one of, well, you don't have to. You can do it like that. Or we have like
A
like
whipper.
those whisk things.
Mhm.
So, but you have to do it like, you have to pour it in there, whisk it right away, and then
And then
drink it.
shoot
Because
it.
if you let it sit, then it's like all in the bottom, and that is nasty.
So gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you can't be doing that.
Yeah.
And even if you like, I'll make like an electrolyte creatine, sometimes amino acid drink situation, and you still have to chug it because by the time you get to the end, that creatine is not absorbed. So,
Okay. Well, that's good to know.
yeah,
Yeah.
gross.
Yeah. I remember this creatine sludge at the bottom, and you're
Yeah,
just like, wow, that is not good.
don't love that.
Oh, no. Um, that's a hack for drinking.
That's a hack.
Okay. Well,
What else you got?
there's a lot of general health benefits that we know. A lot of it
Uh-huh.
is focused on the role in exercise performance, training, adaptations, um, and then also safety in untrained and healthy individuals. Um, but there's a ton of other, like we talked about earlier, like research on different populations, like chronically ill populations or aging populations too, which I think is really interesting, because obviously not all of our listeners and not everybody that is part of this
Hmm.
podcast is a high performance athlete. And I
I am
bet
not.
there are some. You are, you definitely
Yeah,
are.
right.
There is some evidence that it can also offer some health benefits and therapeutic benefits as we age. It's been reported to help lower cholesterol, triglycerides, manage blood
Hmm.
lipid levels. Again, this is not medical advice. Like, check with your doctor. I think it's always
Hmm.
a great thing to ask if this is something that you're working on.
Hmm.
Reduce risk of heart disease, glycemic control, and also reduce the progress of some forms of cancer. Um, there's a ton of stuff that it does and a lot of um, evidence behind it, but also enhancing cognitive function in older populations, and I mean most populations, but also specifically cognitive, or I mean older
Mhm.
populations, improve the efficacy of some antidepressant medications. Um, so, and this study in particular is saying at least 3 grams of creatine a day to support general health as you age.
Yeah. I also like improved function in patients with chronic fatigue. So,
Hmm.
chronic fatigue syndrome, so CFS, which is also known as post-viral fatigue syndrome, PFS, or myalgic encephalitis, which is ME. So people will say like I have ME/CFS, which is myalgic encephalomyelitis chronic fatigue syndrome. And creatine has been shown to be effective and helpful in these cases. So I think that's really cool. Um, they did a study of 3 grams for 7 days or 5 grams a day for 21 days in people with different um, diagnoses like PTSD, depression, fibromyalgia, improvement in symptoms of depression, pain measures, and quality of life. Um, so a lot of different things here, not just ME/CFS, but also like other symptoms that go along with ME/CFS. Am I making sense?
Yeah. Yes, definitely. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a lot of acronyms, but it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's so interesting too that they've done studies on populations with like sarcopenia, which is basically lower muscle
Mm-hmm.
mass and lower bone density, and that it can also help. But again, that's always paired with like resistance training or other known exercises where you stress your system to be able to build muscle and bone health as well. It's not just
Yeah.
taking a magic pill that makes everything
Mm-hmm.
better.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I also know that I know personally a lot of people who struggle with fertility. And I think a lot of times, well, I know a lot of times we blame like just the woman for this, but it's like a 50-50 shot if the fertility issues are from women or men and kind of the
Mhm.
reasoning that you might have them. But sperm motility is dependent on ATP availability. And um, there has been some interest in whether creatine supplementation and or administration may improve fertility for men, which I thought was super interesting.
That is super
More
interesting.
research is needed on that one, but if you are like an active person and you're doing the right things, you're still having trouble with this, and you got your sperm tested and you're like, hey, that's something, maybe talk to your doctor about that, which is
Yeah.
cool and interesting. So I'm a
Yeah.
fan of that study too.
Yeah, that's really cool. That is interesting to think
Because that's
about too.
easier to do than a lot of the other stuff.
Yeah, a lot of the other like huge lifestyle
Hmm.
changes that you might have to
Exactly.
make.
Exactly. I also find it super helpful for people with brain fog.
Hmm.
And this is likely because of the neuroinflammation pathways that it helps with and the antioxidant pathways. But mitochondrial energy deficiencies is one of these things that most people with any metabolic health issue have, which, if you listen to our episode about metabolic health, most people do. If your body and mitochondria don't have enough inherent energy to continue its proper function, it can trigger a protective response, which for some people is migraine, for some people is other things. But ultimately, creatine can be really helpful for this because, again, it just it creates more bioavailability of energy. So I'm a
Okay.
big fan. I'm a
Yeah.
fan of it for pretty much most people.
Yeah. I know there's some research that's been done on neurodegenerative diseases and muscular
Mm-hmm.
dystrophy. And this one is a little bit more like there probably needs to be more research done. It's not like, and it's done on animal models too.
Mm.
And especially or particularly Huntington's disease, Parkinson's, ALS,
Mm-hmm.
MD again, like we talked about. Um, just showing that they like the Parkinson's, Huntington's, and ALS did not necessarily find promising results. Um, but in another study with Huntington's, there was some evidence that
Hmm.
creatine, oh, helped with brain atrophy, um, suggesting some potential clinical benefit. But yeah, it seems
Mm-hmm.
like there's a lot more, like even though there's been a ton of research done, especially like on the athletic population, like there's
Mm-hmm.
more that needs to be done on like some of these
Yeah.
specialized populations as well. But super cool that they're like starting to branch out and research because these are populations that definitely could use.
Yeah. Dementia and Alzheimer's too. They have done a decent number of research on, and I know that, or I see in the research that um it's not making anything worse, and it is likely to be helpful for most
Yeah.
people, which
Yeah.
is really cool.
It is one of those supplements too that seems like other than like normal prescription drugs or like other things that you take, there's usually some side effects. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
this one is like pretty good with all of that.
Yeah. Some people say it makes them gain weight.
Mhm.
Usually it is basically sucking in more water to your muscles. And so it can make you retain water a little bit. So that's something you're super, super sensitive about. Maybe it's not the best thing for you, but if it makes you feel so much better, then it's probably like a pros cons thing. And I also find if you take it consistently, your body kind of like evens itself
Balances
out.
itself. Yeah. Like it might be something that happens at
Mm-hmm.
first, like, and then get
Exactly.
better. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Uh,
is this one that like every single person needs to take? No, it's probably like omega 3s where there is good evidence to show that this is a helpful supplement. And it's also pretty cheap, which is kind of cool. Like
yeah.
omega 3s can get pricey pretty quickly, but creatine is legitimately cheap. So,
hmm
um, I think that it could be a pretty decent one to um, potentially start investing in.
Yeah. And it's very available. There's a bunch of different brands out there,
Mm-hmm.
different ways to take it.
Exactly.
Um, but
I am personally a fan of the powder, not the gummies. What about you?
yeah,
Do you
I've
like the
never tried
gummies?
the gummies.
I haven't either. They
We've
have
only
other
ever
stuff
done.
in them.
Yeah, I know. That's why it's like easier to just do the powder. But
Mm-hmm.
also, you guys, fun fact, skin health. It's been
Yes.
reported to affect energy status in the dermis. And then also whether there's been studies on whether creatine's topical application influences skin health as well, and or may
Oh,
serve as an effective anti-wrinkle intervention.
I would 100% get a lotion with creatine and put it on my face.
That is interesting. Okay, yeah. So they did this study. Um, they did the topical application of creatine containing formulation for 6 weeks, which they
Mm-hmm.
found significantly reduced the sagging cheek intensity in the jowl area, crow's feet,
Whoa.
wrinkles, and wrinkles under the eyes. They
Hmm.
concluded that creatine represents a beneficial active ingredient for topical use in prevention and
Interesting.
treatment of human skin aging.
Huh.
I do not use creatine on my skin.
I would.
Yeah, that's super interesting.
I just Googled creatine lotion and I'm having a hard time finding one that definitely has it in it.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I have to dig deeper into that.
Mm-hmm. But I would 100% do this.
Yes.
Oh, there's one it comes up, but it's a pre-bath mask.
Oh,
Do you like baths? I'm not a fan.
if we had a cool bathtub, I would love baths.
I don't have a cool bathtub. I have a normal,
Yeah, we have the same bathtub, I think, as you,
I think probably
except ours is like
same
almond
house.
colored because it's old.
That's real.
One
Ours is
day.
cast iron.
Oh, that's cool.
That's pretty
One
cool.
day I want to get like
One
a
with like
big,
feet.
big bathtub that's like,
Mm-hmm.
and I would love to take a bath. I think. I think I would, but
I'm not sure.
I don't fit in our bathtub. Like it's not meant for baths.
Yeah, no, mine's not either.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. That's a new hunt that I will be on is creatine face lotion.
Yeah.
Perfect. If you want to take creatine and you're doing the other things and you're lifting weights and you're like, yeah, I'd like to it to be a little bit easier for me to gain muscle and I'm eating enough protein and fiber and healthy fats, creatine could be an awesome option. If you have migraine, or vestibular migraine, then you've probably heard me talk about this before. But if you have had either of those things, creatine can be helpful in order to help you increase your like threshold to migraine. And then it also helps with just brain fog and brain health and brain aging generally. And since it also helps with skin aging, I'm just curious if it helps the aging of our bodies in general,
Mhm.
like to age more gracefully
I
almost.
mean, I feel like
So
to
it's
just
something
by
to
like
check.
theory of like helping with oxidative stress, right? Like to some extent,
Yes,
it seems like it
exactly.
should. But yeah, I think it's a great like adjunct if you're in a point where you're like, I'm doing all these things really
Mm-hmm.
great. I'm eating, I'm like working out, I'm moving, doing all the things. It's like a great step to
Mm-hmm.
take if you're like ready to add something new.
100%.
Yeah,
100%. So yeah, give it a shot. It's cheap. My personal favorite is from Live Momentous. Which one do you take?
I think we take that too, actually.
Nice.
Yeah, because that's the same. We take that for omega 3s.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I love them.
I do too. It's a cute jar. That doesn't mean you should
Anything.
buy
But
it. But it's very simple looking.
everything is
It looks
very
like
tasty.
clean. Like it's
It is.
like clean
Yeah. Hmm.
ingredients. Yeah.
And it is clean.
Yeah. And it
Hmm.
is clean. It makes
Hmm.
sense. Okay.
All right.
Cool.
Thanks so much for listening, guys. We will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.